The clashing of steel, the roar of soldiers locked in battle, dust rising like smoke over a battlefield where the fate of empires is decided. In the chaos of Roman warfare, one figure is often forgotten. Not a general, not a soldier, not a politician, but a beast, a living weapon. Creatures that marched with Rome's legions, snarled at its enemies, and turned fear into flesh. Most know of the canis pugnax, the great Molossian war dog bred for violence. But the Romans' arsenal of living war machines extended far beyond dogs. What if I told you Rome once unleashed lions, elephants, and even trained bulls on its enemies? What if Rome's dominance was not only forged by human hands, but by the teeth, claws, and horns of beasts? The question is simple. Why did Rome place so much faith in animals of war? And why have these ferocious allies been nearly erased from memory? To answer this, we must go back to the earliest days of Rome's rise, when the Republic fought not only with strategy, but with nature itself.
Rome was never content with mere soldiers. The city's ambition demanded spectacle, intimidation, and control. Animals became an extension of Roman willpower, symbols of dominance as much as weapons. Elephants, the towers of war. The first beasts to shake Roman history were elephants. When Pyrrhus of Epirus marched his great war elephants into Italy in 280 BCE, Roman soldiers had never seen anything like them. Imagine it, towering walls of gray flesh, tusks sharpened with bronze, trumpets blasting like the call of the gods. Horses bolted in terror. Men froze. For a moment, Rome trembled. But Rome learned quickly. After their first encounters, Roman legions adapted, using fire, javelins, and maneuver to break the elephant's charge. And in the Punic Wars, elephants returned, this time under the banner of Carthage. Hannibal's legendary crossing of the Alps with his elephants is history's most enduring image of animal warfare. Yet few remember that Rome itself later deployed elephants, seizing the idea from their enemies and turning it into a Roman weapon. Lions and beasts of the arena. But elephants were not alone. Lions, tigers, and leopards filled Rome's arenas, yes, but before they were instruments of entertainment, they were symbols of terror. In North Africa and the eastern provinces, Rome harnessed the prestige of exotic beasts to project fear. Imagine facing not only soldiers, but cages that suddenly burst open with roaring predators. While not practical for disciplined warfare, the very threat of lions or tigers was a psychological weapon. Rome did not just conquer with swords, it conquered by showing that it could command the wild itself. Dogs beyond canis pugnax. And then there were the dogs. Fierce Molossian hounds, armored with spiked collars and sometimes plates of bronze, hurled into battle lines like missiles of muscle and teeth. Yet Rome used more than one breed. Records tell of Celtic war dogs, great shaggy beasts from Gaul, adopted into Roman service after Caesar's conquest. These dogs, trained for loyalty and savagery, became companions not only of soldiers, but of emperors. The symbolism was unmistakable. Rome's enemies unleashed fury, but Rome unleashed controlled fury. Bulls, boars, and unlikely weapons. Even stranger, Rome at times employed bulls and boars in irregular warfare. Enemy tribes in Spain and Gaul had used stampeding animals against invaders, and Rome, pragmatic as ever, turned the tactic to its advantage when necessary. War was never just men clashing. It was chaos, and Rome was willing to turn that chaos into a weapon.
The age of beasts at its height. By the height of the empire, Rome had perfected the art of turning beasts into symbols. Elephants no longer terrified Roman soldiers, but when paraded in triumphs through the streets of Rome, they signaled victory over foreign lands. Lions in cages symbolized Rome's dominion over Africa. Exotic animals became the currency of power. Emperors like Augustus and later Trajan staged games where thousands of animals were slaughtered, not just for blood sport, but to remind citizens Rome rules all creation. Animals on the battlefield began to decline, but animals in the arena rose. War beasts became stage beasts, their legacy shifting from practical weapons to instruments of propaganda. The Roman people cheered not only gladiators, but the conquest of nature itself. Why the beasts vanished? So why did Rome abandon beasts of war? The answer lies in strategy and control. Elephants proved too unpredictable. In one battle, panicked elephants crushed Roman lines instead of enemy ranks. Lions and tigers, though terrifying, were impossible to train effectively for battlefield discipline. Dogs endured the longest, used as guards and companions, but even they faded as warfare became more about precision than spectacle. By the late empire, Rome no longer needed beasts. It needed order, fortifications, and discipline. The animals that once symbolized dominance became reminders of excess and unpredictability. The legacy that remains. And yet, the legacy of Rome's beasts lingers. The idea of animals in war did not die with Rome. Medieval knights unleashed war dogs and carried on the tradition. War elephants resurfaced in India and Southeast Asia. Even today, dogs serve militaries around the world, from bomb detection to battlefield loyalty. Rome's beasts live on in culture, too. Movies, novels, and legends often imagine ancient armies charging alongside wild animals. The very idea captures something primal, humanity's attempt to bend nature to the will of empire. But perhaps the most important legacy is symbolic. Rome's war beasts remind us that empires do not only fight with weapons, they fight with images, with terror, with spectacle. The roar of a lion, the charge of an elephant, the snap of a dog's jaws, these were not just sounds of battle. They were the sounds of Rome announcing to the world, we command not only men, but the beasts of the earth.
Here is conclusion. The lost war beasts of Rome were more than curiosities. They were symbols of ambition, living proof that Rome sought to master every corner of creation. Elephants, lions, dogs, even bulls, each in their own way carried Rome's power into battlefields and arenas. And though they vanished from strategy, their echo remains in our armies, our culture, and our imagination. So the next time you think of Roman power, do not picture only soldiers and emperors. Picture the beasts, snarling, roaring, trampling, marching at Rome's side. Forgotten, yes, but never truly gone. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, remember to like this video, share it with fellow history lovers, and subscribe for more hidden chapters of Rome's past. Because history is never just written in stone. It is written in blood, iron, and sometimes in the roar of beasts.